Welcome, Cooking with Heart for Diabetes. So I'm super excited. This is the first class. You're with me for 4 weeks. And for the next 4 weeks, I want your mind to be blown about delicious food first. And second of all, that happens to be great for managing your blood sugars. So this is really about inspiring you in preparing food, being confident in the kitchen, and learning how to put flavors together and foods so that you can control your blood sugars. So I am super excited. And this week we're going to try out 2 dishes, chocolate and cauliflower. And I'm going to jazz up cauliflower, and you can make it even, I promise you, the first time it might take between 20 and 30 minutes, but after that, 15 minutes. I made the double batch tonight, prepped it in 15 minutes. So of course I've made this a few more times than you will, but you'll get there. So, and I'm going to show you how to cut a cauliflower in like 30 seconds. So wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. So yeah, I know. We love the kitchen, we love food, but we don't want to be tied to the kitchen. So next week we're going to go over snacks galore and spacing of meals a little more, and we're going to go into insulin resistance, which is a really big topic in this area, and it's actually a big topic. You are going to get the kind of the spill the beans on it, but it's really good for anybody in heart disease, anybody in the space of dementia, the space of all chronic diseases tie back to insulin resistance, honestly. So you're getting the advantage of getting the scoop on that. I want to see a big thank you to Trinity Foundation and Genesis, the Quad Cities Diabetes Association. It's them working together that have allowed us to make this at no cost to the community. So really big thank you. I have, let's see, Karen, I'm going to cross my fingers that you've got your settings there. So I'm going to have Karen. She is a guest I wanted to share with you. She's a diabetes educator, and she just wants to say a few words to you. So I'm spotlighting her so you can see her up there. So Karen, if you are good to go, go ahead. We're here. That's in the chat that she's. You're still okay. Maybe she's still okay. We're let's see, Karen. Let's see. She's spotlighted. I don't think she's, is she muted? Yeah, she is. I think you're gonna have to unmute yourself. So, okay, while she's working on that, I want to tell you about pre-assessment. So I have in the past given like a paper and pen pre-assessment just because I want you to track best way possible what's happening now and the changes that you make through the 4 weeks and the impact. And it's a tough thing because all this adds up to big changes, but in 4 weeks, you may not be at your end goal, okay? So what I've been able to find, I'm so excited, is it's a nutrition assessment. It's called BioScreen, and I will send you a link tomorrow that you can take this assessment, and it uses images. So you don't have to be bored to death with words, and then it's going to ask you, did you eat raw asparagus or cooked or roasted? Instead, you're just going to pick pictures real quickly. And it may take up to a half an hour. I do want to let you know, but it's fun. You're sitting there hitting it. And at the end, immediately when you're done, you get a score. So you can see how you did. Okay. So, and if it's a 1-pager, but I get 14 pages, okay, from what happened with you. So if you want more detailed, I will, once I see that you've given me an assessment, I will email you back individually and say, hey, great job. Would you like a more detailed report? And if so, give me kind of, what kind of eyes do you want me to look at through? Do you want me to look at through heart disease, through blood sugar management, through, what kind of eyes, so I can give you some more, but I'll give you choices. I'm not going to tell you ever what to do. I will always give you choices so that you can take this path the best way for you. So I have that and if you increase your score 5 points, which you can do, and I will help and guide you to increase by 5 points, 5 points increase on your score will have a significant impact. So if you just focus on that instead of like, oh, there's all these things I should be doing, just Okay, a couple things were going to make a big difference. And I'll give you several choices. And if you, the other day, somebody came back and said, you said fish, but I really have trouble with fish. Okay, so, we're going to work on something else. That's okay. So anyway, so that's something that I have available. I'm super excited because it really gives me a more in-depth look at what your intake looks like. And you don't have to sit there and remember, what did you eat 4 days ago? Because I can't remember hardly yesterday. Okay. So, and this is actually used in the research. It's validated. It's really good. So I'm super excited. And all different kinds of eating, categories, and even is in Spanish if somebody would want to take it in Spanish. So, okay. So Karen, just ping us. Tanya is helping out tonight, and she'll watch for your ping when you're set up, Karen, to jump on. So speaking of Tanya, I would love Tanya to step up to the stage here and introduce yourself.
I am Tanya. Some of you have seen me in the other classes. Some of you have seen me in the cardiac treatment unit. I'm down there in the morning, and I come up to cardiac and pulmonary rehab in the afternoon, and then help out the great Teresa over here for some of these heart-to-heart classes. So it's a pleasure to be with you all, and I hope you enjoy the classes and tell you, oh my gosh, you're going to learn so much. So just keep coming back each week, and we promise it'll be worth it.
Thank you, Tanya. So a little housekeeping. We've got a great group online. So I've got you muted. So you can unmute yourself. So you just need to touch the screen, mouse touch somewhere, and you should see some icons, and you're looking for the microphone with an X through it. And when I ask for your feedback, encourage, go ahead and take yourself off mute and share. We actually do hear, everybody can usually hear in the classroom. So that's pretty cool. If you want to send through chat, Tanya's watching the chat for questions and responses. So go ahead and do that. My eyes can't quite on this little screen make out the little dots and everything. So Tanya's helping me keep track of things for you guys. I do look back through the whole transcript and look if I missed any questions. And if I do happen to, I will make sure I answer them at the beginning of the next class, because I want everybody to hear the answers, because we're all here to learn together. So class is an hour, and it goes by super quick, but I will take it an hour. I could speak for 6 hours easily. So if you know me, so but an hour is valuable, and I really know that you've made an effort to be here, be online, and I want to use that, really squeeze out the most from it. So we will go through a presentation at the beginning, and then we'll go into the demo of 2 dishes that reinforce some of the concepts. You all should have a binder. If you don't, let me know. We did have, I know one person that didn't get it, so I emailed him the PDF, so he has that. So let me know. We want to get the binder to you. The binder is for you to keep, to take notes, to scratch on. So the other thing is, we have in the front pocket there action steps. We have 2 copies, especially those that are here in person. And I know it sounds, you see in the pocket, the action steps are half sheets. And I did 2 copies because I want you to leave one here just in case you forget your binder. We're still trying this out. Maybe we'll take your feedback, but we've been giving out 2 copies. And what I want you to do is kind of think about what action step you want to take as you hear the material, as you see the recipes. So, and you don't have to do any of those action steps. You can think of, there's plenty more beyond what I've listed there. So if you want to make up your own, put that there. But I want to have a little accountability. It really helps. Most of us really help to write things down in some fashion. So I have 2 because I want the one, if you're here in person, I want you to leave one behind with your name. I like to look at them to see what kind of things you're working on, see if I can support you in some way. Also, if you forget it, you've got it there. But those at home, definitely take it out of the pocket and make sure that you're going through and also set an action step for yourself. So awesome. Okay. Okay. Very important. With every 10% increase in eating whole food, you actually decrease your risk of diabetes 7 to 9% over the next 4 years. So let me say it again. with every 10% increase in eating whole foods, plant-based eating pattern, you decrease your risk of diabetes 7 to 9% over the next 4 years. Just by transitioning your eating, you will slow down or halt a diagnosis of diabetes. Now, for those with a diagnosis of diabetes, we have a lot of research showing that plant-focused whole food eating pattern increases insulin sensitivity. That's a good thing. You'll hear about that next week. Decreases medication and decreases diabetes retinopathy. Very cool things. I don't know if you've heard, but remission is possible from diabetes. Remission definition is a hemoglobin A1C. How many of you know what a hemoglobin A1C is? Some of you heard, okay, most of the hands are up. It's a measure over 3 months on average of your blood sugars. And 6.4 or less is considered remission and you're off meds. We like it if you be 5.7. I would really push for 5.7, okay? But that can only be accomplished through lifestyle. Wouldn't that be pretty cool to be in remission? Okay, so time for me to stop talking and ask you a question. So give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So get your thumbs ready. So thumbs up if you've heard that people with diabetes should avoid carbs. Thumbs down if you've never heard this. Okay, see a lot of thumbs up, a couple thumbs down. Okay, this is a common myth. And I'm going to go more into this in a moment. First, a little bit about me. I'm the culinary instructor here. I am professionally trained as a registered dietitian, nutritionist. I have a PhD in nutrition, so I tortured myself a little longer. Culinary is my passion. I actually wrote a cookbook in college before, the internet and before they had electronic devices. I had to pay somebody to put it on WordPress and stuff like that. On Word. So I'm very passionate. I've written some chapters in some national culinary textbooks. I just think this is fun, and this is the way to go to make change happen, is just get confident in the kitchen and understand food. Do I have diabetes? No. However, what I know that most people don't know is that irregardless of the fact that I don't have a diagnosis of diabetes, your blood sugar, as you probably know, is meant to be kept in a range, a high, low, in between there, and kind of like your thermostat when you set it. So I know that even though my body is able to keep it in this thermostat range, no matter what I eat, here's the catch. I know that if it goes up really fast, steep climb, and drops down really fast, whoa, and does that over and over and over, then I am going to have increased chronic inflammation, not good for all your chronic diseases, and it's gonna hit like a train wreck, insulin sensitivity. So eventually I'm gonna go some direction of chronic disease from those things, just from not controlling my blood sugars. Now, controlling your blood sugars, I mean a steady climb, more like this, not, okay? So even though my blood sugars are in the normal range and somebody else's, they may be messing with danger, okay? But I know not to. So, okay. So let's see. Okay. What's that? Karen, awesome. Let me see. Okay, let me get you highlighted, Karen, so you can go ahead and share. She's awesome. You have in your, I think it's the second page, the resources for diabetes educators in the area. So Karen is one of a handful that we have. We have fantastic diabetes educators here. I know all of them, and they are fantastic. So there's Genesis and Unity Point. Both of them are listed there. They're clinics, and you're insured. If you haven't been in to see a diabetes educator for a one-on-one consultation, every year your insurance, if you're diagnosed with diabetes, it's going to reimburse, guys. And this is really good use of your insurance money. So make sure you call and get the referral that you need to get in to see one of these excellent diabetes educators. Because here's the cool thing. I promise you, once you leave the office with these guys, you'll feel better than you went in. There's no guilt. There's no shame. They are here to uplift you and help you with your goals. So make sure you go see them. Kieran, I'm going to take you off just because it looks like we're having technology. So you can just go ahead and start talking. I'm not going to have you spotlighted if you get things going. So we will cross our fingers. So, okay, let's move into the juicy info for today. Carb. Okay. Oh, so carb confusion. So there's so much false, misleading, partial truths with carbs. So I want to clear that up. So we're going to dig deep into it. I'm going to hop on over to the PowerPoint. So I'm going to share my screen. You should be able to see it, those in person here on the screen when I get that. Computer's a little tired today, I noticed. So it's just going slower about its business. There we go. Let's get over here. There we go. Okay, clearing up carb confusion. So first, before I get into specifically about carb, I want to discuss, if you've been with my class before, you've heard these before, and you are at the advantage you're hearing them again so that they can sink in, because these are so important. These are success lifestyle tips. If you really want to change your lifestyle, you must, 100%, these 4 things must happen. First, open mind, scientist mindset. So you have to be open and waiting for the gifts, for unexpected things to show up. So there's so many gifts in combinations that you never, ever thought would be possible. Okay. And tonight we're going to put some combinations together that you're like, oh my goodness, that makes sense, but I never thought about it. So I just want you to have an open mind. Things go, you know, some of my best recipes were flops to begin with. So I flop recipes all the time. But I then, what should I learn? What should I try next? I know I'm getting close. I know it has potential. So I want by the end, if not today, at the end of 4 classes, for you to understand that healthy is not boring, okay? Healthy can be delicious if you have that open mind for it. Second thing is take baby steps. So this is really, really hard for those of us that are very high achieving. Go for it. Just tell me what to do and I'm going to crank it out. It doesn't work, guys. Okay. I'm going to throw a lot at you and I do not want you to do it all. I just want you to think about what's the easiest thing that's going to bring you some change next. That's it. Baby steps. Because here's the thing. I'm going to assume nobody has a very boring next 4 weeks to just sit there all day and devote to this stuff. I don't either. I want it to happen in the backdrop anyways. That's the way it's supposed to happen. While you're doing whatever you do during the day, tending to volunteer work, to grandkids, to work, to just all kinds of stuff. It should happen in the background, almost undetected. So your baby steps should be so small, it almost feels ridiculous. That's the right size. And time after time, people that are successful, usually they have to fail first and then go, okay, I took too much on. Teresa said she warned me about that. And then they pull it back in and go, okay, baby step, baby step, baby step. And then they start to understand that's what really works. Just continuous. Because here's the thing, guys, I'm working on this too. Yeah. Now I'm healthier than I was 5 years ago. Not because I was like a whole hot mess 5 years ago, but because I'm always taking baby steps and learning things, learning ways to do it while I'm on vacation, learning ways to do it with the kids moving in, moving out. I got 4 of them at all different stages of life. And in 5 years, I'm going to be healthier. Now, yes, I will look 5 years older. I want to, okay? We were talking about that today. It's okay to look your age, guys. Okay, I want to, but inside, I'm going to be healthier. It's possible. So self-compassion. So I won't ask for a show of hands of how many of you are berating yourself, but newsflash, it does not work to motivate you. We do it all the time to ourselves. It doesn't work. I'm going to help you focus on the good, on the growth, on the learnings in here, and not beat yourself up. Yeah, you're going to burn things. Well, not any of my recipes, but things are going to go wrong. You're going to get the wrong ingredients. You're going to, forget one. You're going to, there's all kinds of things that could happen, but there are learnings, there are gifts then in there. So, and yes, I do get frustrated, but I allow myself like 30 seconds to get frustrated, and I say, okay, come on, Teresa, what'd you learn? What are you going to do different the next time? Moving on. So, okay, last one is have fun. Have fun. So I don't know about you, but I do not have Fort Knox willpower. Okay. So, and I don't expect anybody else to. Okay. If you give me a Sam's bag of peanut M&Ms, oh, I'm gonna have a tummy ache in an hour. Okay. So I don't bring them in the house. That is like a no, no, no. We do not have Sam's Costco size of any of those things that I don't want going in my body in lots of big amounts. Now, do I have a Whitey's? A blue moon, a blue moon. But you know what? I don't feel like I'm missing out. Okay. So, and that's not the goal. I'm just saying I do what serves my health because I want to be healthy. I got 4 kids that I want to be around for a long time and keep up with. So and I love my life. So I need energy. I need to watch out for my health. I need to do things that are delicious and serve my health. Okay. Oh, well, fun too. Some ideas there. I didn't give you any ideas. So I don't know, those that are online, I don't know if you noticed, I had a wine glass with water. There's water. It's water. You're welcome to take a sniff. The idea is make it fun. I actually have started to put wine glasses at the dinner table that don't have wine. Okay, like at a time that I could, and I do occasionally have wine. But I'm just saying, making it special. I've also, for the last probably year, started doing candles and napkins, paper, but, making it special, making it fun. So prepping in the kitchen, if you're like, Teresa, I really don't like being in the kitchen. Okay, then you're gonna have to be creative. Do you want to put your playlist on? Okay. Me, I just need to have 80s and 90s music, pop music, that I'm going in the kitchen. So whoever's in the kitchen, they can blast it as loud as they want. So if it's my 26-year-old, she's definitely doing podcasts. Okay. The 21-year-old, it's usually music. So you can do books on tape. You can invite somebody. You can, if none of that works, then you know what? You reward yourself after. After you're done in the kitchen, you sit down and do something you enjoy. Watch Netflix, have a cup of tea, just quietly out on your porch. Figure it out. What makes you tick? So you gotta have fun. And there's many different reasons, okay? Fun makes sense. It's an emotional connection to doing this over and over, so you look forward to it. That's what I want. Okay, so moving on to carb confusion. So we hear words like carb, starch, complex, simple carb. What do they mean? Well, unfortunately, nutritionists and media have abused these terms and they've misled what the meanings are. So, okay, let's go in another area. How many of you have a dog? Okay, got lots of hands up here. So when somebody asks, what kind of dog do you have? Do you say toy dog? Do you say designer breed? Do you say Heinz 57? Do you say husky? Do you say cannabis familiaris? What do you say? So all these terms are sort of kind of in that realm of, and if you're wondering, Canis familiaris means domesticated wolf. So, okay. But this is what happens with carb terms in a way. So they get messed up and they're not quite on target, but they're in that area. And it just makes everybody confused. And so now people start to fear the words and they're totally confused. So let me show you what I mean. So let's say that you were going to eliminate carbs. Now, I would never ask you to do that. You'll find out in a moment, but let's just say, because that's what a lot of people set out to do. So they would try and eliminate probably foods like this. Okay, they go. So, maybe they had a friend that eliminated carbs, they heard, and, lost 20 pounds. So they're like, I'm going to do this too. I'm going to give it a try. So the thing is, they would also have to eliminate these foods. These all foods have carbs in them. So a lot of us forget that these foods have carbs in them, and we don't want to eliminate these. So, fruits, nuts, beans, they all have carbs in them. So, okay. So here's a breakdown of the carbs. So you see at the top carbohydrate, and then we break it off to two types. Simple, complex. That's the highest kind of classification of carbs. So let's look at the simple side. We've got several there. So you see the word glucose. How many of you heard glucose? Probably. It's another word for blood sugar. Okay, that's what you're reading with your blood sugar. So sucrose, that's table sugar. Lactose is in milk. Galactose, maltose, these are a combination. They're all simple. Okay, they're just one molecule of simple sugar. So now on the other side, we've got complex. Complex, we've got three there: starch, glycogen, and fiber. And just think of these are like really long chains of those simple ones. Really, really long, hundreds, thousands, on and on and on. So, okay, but here's the thing. Your body, it is made to work with glucose. So it's everything about glucose in many different ways. So, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I know we've been trained to think it's a bad thing, but those complex sugars, the complex starches, like those two first ones, starch and glycogen, if they're just alone, no fiber, okay, leave off the fiber, then truthfully, they break down about as quickly as the ones under the simple column in your blood sugar. Your body is so good at chopping even hundreds long. It's so small a difference, it's like no difference. In my book, it's no difference. So those things that are starch and glycogen only are going to be like white bread, white pasta, white rice, potatoes without the skin, French fries, most breakfast cereals, okay, guys, pretty much all the bread in the bread aisle. Okay, so those are equivalent to sugar. Just think of them in your mind. Okay, I know they don't taste like it, but really, in its basic form, it chops it down so quickly. If you were to eat 3 pieces of white bread, it would be like 2 spoonfuls of sugar in your body really quick. So, okay, now, but if these complex carbs have fiber, it's a whole different story. Night and day. Your body can't break down fiber unless you're a cow. So fiber doesn't raise your blood sugar. You're like, oh, okay, it doesn't raise your blood sugar. Okay, now what happens is food that has fiber naturally in it, think of it like a traffic jam or a web that's kind of created there. So your body is kind of trying to figure out where the carb is in between the fiber that's kind of getting in the way, which is a good thing. And so it's slowly kind of undoing the traffic jam so that you're getting a slow increase in your blood sugar, a very controlled blood sugar rise with that fiber in there. So for awesome blood sugar control, you want to select carbohydrates that are whole foods that naturally have fiber in them. And you have a handout in your binder with them, but those are brown rice, amaranth, beans, oats, quinoa, farro, vegetables. Now, there's 2 different types of fiber too that is important to know. And neither of them I want you to like favor over the other. They're both very important and both have their own roles. One's called soluble and one's called insoluble. All foods have a combination of them. They tend to be a little higher in one or the other. It's not exactly half-half. So we say wheat bran is insoluble. So those are going to be in the seeds and the skins. It's giving structure to plants. So fiber is only in plants too. I don't know if I said that. So, it's in all whole foods, but it's near the skin, it's the outer peel, it's in the leaves, again, giving structure to the plant. The other one, soluble, is like oats, where it makes a gunk, a gel. And if you think of the gel like oatmeal that you might make in the morning, it does that with your food. And so that really is great for slowed blood sugar, because it takes your body a little bit to untangle that, get to the carb, because it really wants to get to the carb, and the carb is not bad. So we want some in our bloodstream, and we want the fiber. So that glunk is really good. The other thing about the glunk is when it gets to your small intestines, well, okay, let me back up. Actually, in the food, it tends to, the cholesterol that you eat, it tends to grab onto and then just keep it moving on through out your other end. So that's good. Your cholesterol doesn't really go into your body. Now, don't think that that's going to drop your cholesterol 200 points, because you actually make 4 times than what you eat. So there's something you need. Go to my foundational class to find out about that. But anyways, that's good. That's something that we all would like. So it grabs on the cholesterol in your food you eat. The other thing is when it gets to the small intestine, large intestine, where you have bile. Bile is something used to break down fat. You don't need to remember any of this, but what I want you to picture is that bile has cholesterol in it. Your liver makes bile. So when this oatmeal glunk goes through and grabs onto that bile and then excretes it out your other end, your liver goes, oh gosh, looks like I gotta make some more bile. So your liver then cranks up and grabs cholesterol from your bloodstream and brings it into the bile. So that's a really good thing. So this is one of the ways that you've kept balance through hundreds of thousands of plus years. So that's the soluble. The insoluble, a little more on that one, the kind of structure one. What that does, it doesn't gel like the oatmeal. Instead, what it does is it loves to scrape the sides of your intestine, small and large. And so it's really good at keeping things moving, keeping things from causing trouble, hanging out too long. It also makes your muscles move. You know, we have that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. Same thing on the inside, guys. Your intestine is one big, long, kind of wave-like muscle that if you don't use it, you're going to have constipation. So it really helps with moving things and keeping a good consistency. So it grabs onto water and does its job. So those are really great things. They work together really well. The other thing you need to know is fiber, when it gets to your large intestines, your bugs there love the fiber and they eat it and they do wonderful things. Now, you might be like freaking out right now, but it's all good stuff. So you basically grow a beautiful garden in your large intestine because of the fiber that you're eating. If you're missing out in the fiber because you're not eating the whole foods, you're growing no garden or weeds in your large intestine. So yes. Okay, so what are you to eat? So I know this is a question a lot of people going through their minds. So this is really simple. It's in your binder. I use it over and over. It is not the prettiest one. Yes. 635. Okay, 635. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so notice here, what percentage is vegetables? Give me an estimate. 65. Well, okay, Mark, that's high. That's high there, 75. I'm going with 30. Maybe it's a little over 25. Now you hit the mark. My question was going to be, how many plants do you need to eat first? Like, what is the minimum for healthy eating that you want to eat plants? 75%. That last quality proteins could be meat or non-meat. Okay, I'm not going to beat up meat, but I'm going to give you some kind of guidance with the meat as we go along. So it could be plant-based too. So look at that. So thinking about that, you know, where are you? Are you half vegetables and fruits? Are you quarter whole grain? Intact grain, 3 layers of the fiber, whole food grain. Again, that's things like amaranth, quinoa, brown rice, things like that. Okay, so let's see, Mediterranean eating pattern. That is what I advocate in this class and all the classes. It's beans, vegetables, fruits, spices, herbs, flavorings, EVU, extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of meat, maybe if you want, kind of like a condiment, dairy products, especially local. So Mediterranean eating pattern. Eating pattern is not a diet. Okay, eating pattern is you're working towards having more and more of these things that I just named, but there's a little wiggle room for what I'll call less nutrient dense foods. Okay, so there's no guilt or shame involved with this eating. You're working towards it. So, okay, action steps there. You've got your sheet, start thinking about it. You know, you're going to add one whole grain serving. You can change your health by just adding one whole grain serving additional a week. It's that simple, guys. Incorporate more plant foods into one meal. Eat at least one good source of fiber at each meal for a day. Eat a dessert flipped. We're going to do that for a class. So, okay. Steve has told me that we're at our time, so I'm going to put you guys to work here real quick. Let me stop sharing so you can see me. Okay, so it's time for everybody to stand up with me. Stand up at home or here. If you want to, you can do a little John Travolta move. Up, down, up, down. You can see dancing is not my best thing. Down. Okay, okay. You can go ahead and sit down. So, okay, the reason why I had you do that is because if you can actually change your blood sugars by just making sure you're getting up and standing up and sitting down every 30 minutes. They did a study where people sat for 8 hours or they stood up and sat down every 30 minutes. Those that just stood up and sat down, no John Travolta moves or anything, their blood sugars were 11% better. Just that small change can make a difference. Okay, so it's time to get going. So I want to, would you like to start with chocolate or cauliflower? I think we'll start with chocolate. You're like, really? Is there a choice? No, but these cauliflower salad. Oh, but before we do, I do need to show you. Okay, those of you, I have these here. Those at home, just as we were starting class, I put 2 cups of warm water in each of these. This is actually soluble fiber. It's psyllium, okay? So that is the fiber like the oatmeal, okay? So on 3, I'm going to dump it upside down and see what happens, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay? That's, in a sense, what happens when you're eating soluble fiber in whole food form, okay? So this one, I'm not going to dump upside down, okay? It doesn't, Tanya's like, I'm not cleaning up that mess. So, yeah, so you can see it separates out. So it's kind of like, I like to think of fiber like a what? Oh. Hopefully the signal. Let me see. Let me try and do. Oh, that is so weird. You guys have me frozen there. Camera off, on. Let's see if that does anything, like kind of jogs its memory. Ah, it jogged it. Okay. So think of fiber like this Brillo pad. So this here, the green sponge part here is very much like oatmeal. It sucks up water and creates a gel, holds on to it. Okay. This here is the wheat brand. This is the insoluble fiber that really scrapes along and keeps things moving. No toxins get to sit around. Any guys that are messing around, they keep them moving and keep your muscles so that you don't have constipation. So fiber, really key, guys. We are just not getting enough. So keep that in mind. So just easy changes. So, okay. So time for chocolate. Okay, we are going to make brownies. So fudgy brownies. And this one is a dessert flip because we are taking the dessert and combining it and making it even better for multiple reasons. First of all, this has, I think 7 grams of fiber. Yeah, 7 grams of fiber. in a brownie. Let me make sure that's without, that's with the raspberries, half a cup of raspberries. So yes, so 7 grams of fiber. Many people aren't even getting that in a full day of fiber, and just the brownie plus a half a cup of raspberries. So what we've done is these brownies actually have several sources of fiber in them. And then by combining them with a low glycemic index, I'm not a huge proponent of glycemic index, but it gives us something to talk about. But it just basically means berries don't spike, even though fruits we kind of think of, and they're not like horrible fruits, but there's ways that we need to kind of use them in our diet. And eating alone is not a good idea for most of your fruits, but berries tend to not spike our blood sugars, most people. There's some individualization. So things like raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, those are great. They've got a lot of fiber. First of all, they're smaller, remember? They're smaller, so they got a lot of fiber around the outside. Makes sense. So they do really well that way. And it's a beautiful flavoring. I think it's better. Like, I mean, there is such a thing as too much chocolate. Okay, I'm a chocoholic. Okay, so but the combination of raspberry with chocolate, oh, it's so good. So what we're gonna do is it's really simple, this recipe. So I've got my blender here, and I usually just use a regular, blender. It's a good blender, but it's nothing like super expensive. I've had it forever. I actually don't even have a food processor at home, but we're just gonna go use that. Oh, yes, I'm going to switch. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to switch the camera so you guys at home can see what I'm doing here. So we have a camera that will help us. And you guys here can see a little bit of my hands then. Camera, where's my camera? There it is. So. Okay, so you should be able to see now here. So black beans. This is no added salt. This is actually, they didn't have the no added salt, but this is no added salt. This is the expensive, the $3.99 can instead of the $1, like whatever at Hy-Vee. They were out, but this is still no added salt. You save 400 milligrams of sodium if you go to no added salt beans, guys, per serving. So really good idea to go no added salt. So I rinsed these, a whole can in here. So this has got fiber, guys. Look at this. These are little guys. So they got fiber all around them. So then I'm going to add, if I was doing my blender, typically I add the liquid ingredients with the beans and then blend it till it's really smooth. Okay. It just does better unless you have this like ninja blender. So I added maple syrup. Maple syrup is syrup, guys, sugar, spiking your blood sugar like crazy, but we've got it in the middle of the fiber. Remember, we're making that traffic jam. And then we have the raspberry. So this is our sweetener. There's nothing magical, but it is, I like when I can to use it instead of sugar. So, and then vanilla. So I'm going to add those things. I'll add the baking powder. There's 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder in there. And canola oil. So we do have some oil in there. So I do love olive oil, but usually in baking we go for a neutral. I'll talk more about that later, but I use canola when I have to for baking when I really need a neutral. So we just have a little bit there. So I'm going to go ahead and blenderize this up, and then I'll add in the cocoa. So, because this is how I do it at home. I would probably be okay here to blenderize right away, but I want to show you the beans. Oh, it helps if I plug it in too. Yeah. Let's see how we're doing there. We're doing pretty good. Now there's going to be I want you to see this because I want you to be super confident doing this because of course I know you're going to want to make the brownies. So see here how it's got little flecks. Okay, but it's pretty smooth. So you're not gonna, I don't know, maybe if you get rid of the flecks, let me know what kind of blender you got, okay? So I always have a little bit, okay? This is a good base for a lot of different things, I do. So, but the black beans, they're dark colored, kind of like, oh, they have anthocyanins, they're super packed with enzymes. So let me add the cocoa. Is cocoa a plant or an animal? Okay, I know you're like, what kind of question is that, Teresa? So, but I want to make the point. It has fiber, guys. It's really good source of fiber. Did you ever think about that before? Yeah. Um, well, you're gonna have to sugar-free. I can't remember what it's whether it can make it in the, we've got some here. Let me see what the sweetener is. These are great questions. Uh, sorbitol. It might work. I would try half first, would be my suggestion. Monk fruit, I've not experimented with it. We could have a whole discussion about sweeteners, but the bottom line is monk fruit would be my preferred. The bottom line also is this is not a meal replacement, guys, okay? So I know we wish it would be, but it's not. So as far as sweeteners go, we want to bring out flavors of things so we're not just tasting sugar. So Patrick, I love your where your mind's going. Try half. I also want to caution people, it's not about just eliminating 100% of sugar. We can have a little bit, and we should be growing some other foods that we're not adding sugar to. I hope that makes sense. So, but great question. So I'm going to just put this in a bowl and stir in the chocolate chips. I like to use mini. I have yet to find in this area mini dark, but I would go for that if I find it. I like mini because you cut these up into 16 pieces, 4x4 in an 8 square inch pan, 8-inch square inch pan. And when you're cutting down, if you have big chocolate chips, it's a mess. It's, you're breaking it and then you have to eat it, and then you break it and you have to eat it. So it doesn't go very well. It makes the nicest pieces. So that's why I like the mini. So it makes better for cutting. So we stir that. And then I've got my 8x8 pan sprayed with nonstick oil. Okay, couple tips here. Make sure it's either canola or olive oil spray, and it doesn't say diluted. Your best check is to go to the back and look at the ingredients list, the fine print, and make sure you don't have anything palm in there, okay? Because they've tricked me before where it says diluted, really small print, and then I get home and I'm like, oh. So you want just olive oil or canola oil for your spray. So we're just going to put that in there, spread it out. It does rise a little bit from that baking powder, not a lot because it's brownies. So, oh, I forgot my oats. I knew there was something. Oh, I forgot my oats. Here they are. Okay, well, guys, sorry, guys. Okay, we're going to mix that in. Okay, so I will cook these, but we have finished ones. So my bad, I couldn't see that there, but oatmeal is another fiber. That's another fiber we have in here. So you can use old-fashioned oats. What tends to happen is when we put it in the blender, it blends up to pretty close to oat flour. Okay. So this is going to be interesting how these turn out. So I'll let you know how they turn out. Maybe they'll turn out great, guys. So who knows? So sometimes with these, it depends upon your blender. I might have a few pieces of oatmeal I can see. Don't get freaked out. It's okay. People will still eat the brownies. Okay. So this is a little much for what happens. I do have some brownies. Let's see. Oh, I have in the refrigerator a finished brownie. So this goes in the 350 in the oven for 20 minutes to 23. I do a toothpick. If it doesn't come out perfect, with a little bit, I'm okay. But if it's still got like a centimeter of stuff coming out, then I'll put it back in. Yeah, but I have the pretty one that's all set up there. Oh, so show top shelf. Oh, I know.
It looked like raspberries to me, guys. Sorry.
Yes. So Tanya's got here's the finished product. So just imagine that coming out of the oven warm and taking a fork bite of the raspberry and the chocolate. It's to die for. It's actually, to me, better. So also, the last class, somebody, she's like, those are good, Teresa, but I need something like whipped cream if I'm going to serve them. So what we did is we made aquafaba the next class. So anybody know what aquafaba is? Okay, bean juice. You're not going to believe this, but you can take the juice from the beans and whip it up and add some sugar And it whips up like egg white. So, and it actually tastes like Cool Whip. It's pretty much like Cool Whip, and you can freeze it. No joke. I did all this. I was like, okay, you guys are challenging me here. So if you want that, I will show you the recipe that I got it from. It's, an online gal that does that. But so if you were like served, because it was around Easter time the last time this class was. So people were like, I want to bring that for Easter, but I need some some Cool Whip or whipped cream with it. So so just so you know, you can be creative. And actually, I had a restaurant in Chicago that was farm to table, and they served chickpea sticks. They were really good. They were like breadsticks with seasoning on them, and then you dip them in. I know it was aquafaba with pesto in it. So, I mean, just I know you're probably like, no way, Teresa, I'm not doing that. That's okay. But I just want to show you that there are so many possibilities out there. So you just never know. And if you keep an open mind, oh my goodness. So time to throw together in 10 minutes the cauliflower salad. No problem. So, okay. So let me get my gloves on. I made a mess there, which is, if you're not making a mess, you're not really cooking. So in my book anyway, so I make a mess all the time. Just ask. Yeah, so, okay. So cauliflower. Oh my goodness. And in this recipe, you don't even have to like steam the cauliflower or roast it, because cauliflower has got a kind of strong flavor to it. You agree? It's a cruciferous. That's for another class to talk about cruciferous, but it's really powerful with a lot of stuff, including fiber. So, but we need to match it with strong flavors, and we're going to match it. But first I want to show you, I'm going to put my discard bowl, because when you start prepping whole food, you have a lot of discard. So here's my discard bowl. If you do the foundational class, you'll learn more about that. But I want to show you who's going to time me 20 seconds. I'm going to cut this. Okay, Mark? Yeah, you get your phone. Mark's going to get his phone ready. He's going to time me. Can you guys see okay at home? Are you seeing okay? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to do this.
Go.
Oh my goodness, I wasn't ready. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to cut it into quarters, and I'm going to look for this like triangle edge here. And you're looking for this triangle, and I'm cutting down. So here, a quarter again, cutting down the triangle. I want you to see this a little better here. You see how it's thin there up to thicker? Is that my 20 seconds? So there we go. We've got them. Okay, I'm done. How many seconds was that? 10 seconds over. Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, I'm getting worse. So quarters, and then you look for, there's like a triangle with the core. So from the bottom is going to be the thickest to the thinner at the top. Now it's not perfect, but you can see if you're looking for the triangle to cut off, you'll start to see it. So that's what you're doing. And then you can make the florets however small. This is Mother Nature. They're not going to always, sometimes it breaks off really easily. And, depending, sometimes you're going to have to cut off a little more. Sometimes I'll cut little V's, because most of us don't want so much stem in there. So especially when we're doing a floret salad like this. So, but I don't want you sitting there and spending 5 minutes even cutting your cauliflower. Okay. I love being in the kitchen, but there's other things that I want you to be doing. So you can see discard, having the discard bowl nearby is really important. So, okay. There we go. Okay. So I've already actually trimmed some cauliflower. These are 2 cauliflower. I'm making a double recipe because I want to make sure we have plenty for everybody here. So we get a big bowl here. So here's my 2 strands of cauliflower. And I did smaller pieces because I want everybody to have a taster. It's just kind of nice because then everything will fall and you'll get several of the different flavors going on. So again, we have a strong vegetable here, so we need a strong match. Okay, this is not zucchini. Zucchini is a very delicate, more softer kind of flavoring profile. So for the sauce, let me grab a bowl here. I am going to start with one of our stronger ingredients. It's white balsamic. Now you can use regular balsamic, and I use balsamic all the time. It's very strong vinegar. It's a vinegar. And on the spectrum, balsamic is, whoa, over there. It's one that, you snip, you, oh. So it's just really strong. So, but that's good. It's going to match up really well. Now, why I'm using white? Well, if I use the usual balsamic, what's going to happen to the cauliflower after a day? It's going to look a little sadder. Okay. So, looks are important, for this. So white. Now, if you are a true balsamic Italian, Italy fan, you put your nose up in the air and go, that is not balsamic. True. Okay. It's not a true balsamic, but it works. Okay. It's a strong flavoring and it's a lighter color. Technically, it's not white. It has a little bit of color to it. So you can see that here. Well, actually, that's my olive oil. Shoot. Okay. Let me get another one so you can see. So I want you to see the color of that. There we go. So no, that's my lemon juice. My goodness. Okay. Okay. I need my eyes checked here. So, okay. There we go. That is the balsamic. So you can see it's not white. It's not clear, but it's lighter. It's lighter than balsamic. So, okay. And then what?
Reduced balsamic?
No. No, I just use strong, and that's a good point. There are points, and actually in the foundational class, I teach you how to do reduced balsamic because it's really important. But here, the vinegar, we want that strong vinegar to match up with the cauliflower. So, and then the EVOO, the extra virgin olive oil, this is what I use. It's really, really important that you get EVOO, that you find it EVOO. Costco, they do have an EVOO. Make sure it says extra virgin at Costco because they have some non-extra virgin. But theirs I have checked. This one I checked. I have another bottle. Can you grab it, Tanya, up there, tall? Oops, it's up top shelf there. The skinny tall olive oil one. It's another one at Walmart. Most of the ones at Hy-Vee are not EVOO. Even though they say extra virgin, there's so much fraud, guys. So much money being made with olive oils. And the problem is extra virgin olive oil is mechanically pressed. Think about it. In order to get it from the olives, you have to have a process. Most oils on the shelf, including this canola oil, is chemically processed and deodorized. It's cheap process and it makes it bland in the end. Bland is golden for a food manufacturer because they can use it all different ways. So, well, no, it's okay. It's okay.
I do not see a
Okay.
bottle of it.
There's a certification from California Olive Oil Council, COOC.com, has a list. It's a little tricky. Just because it's an expensive olive oil does not mean it's EVOO. I can talk to you individually about that, but just know it's really important because this is mechanically pressed versus chemically pressed. And the reason I want it mechanically pressed because olives have squalene. They have oleic at this, it's a long O word, but they're antioxidants. They're things that are going to help your LDL come down. They're going to help with insulin resistance, okay? But they're not going to be in the fake ones, okay? They're chemically processed. So you've got to make sure this is not super expensive. You can get it at Hy-Vee and Walmart. So EVOO there, I know we need to finish up. A tinge of maple syrup, just 2 teaspoons, just a little sweeter. Where you can see, we just like that balance there. So, and then the lemon juice. So it's 1 lemon squeezed, about 2 to 3 tablespoons is 1 lemon. You can squeeze a lemon just like squeezy, okay? Just make sure, do it like eggs somewhere else, because if you have a seed, you can pick it out. You can also, if your grip is not super strong, you can take it and actually take it way down in the tongs and just squeeze it, okay? So you don't need to buy a squeezer. If you have a squeezer, fine, but I don't like dirtying dishes. So this works really well. So that's our sauce. That's it, guys. That's it. So the only ingredient you have to get is the white balsamic. Most of your kitchens are going to have these. The white balsamic, unfortunately, Walmart doesn't carry. Don't know why. Hy-Vee does. So, this is the container. I always find it at Hy-Vee, no problem. So that is our dressing. So I am going to, can you grab the apple? Oh, no, the apples are here. They're right here. So this is, I did a double batch. It's 2 sour apples, 2 green apples. Okay, I do not snack on green apples. They are not my favorite to snack on. They're sour. They make me, cringe a little bit, but that's good because it's going to match up really well with cauliflower. That sour zing is, here and there. It's going to be a nice match. What do I snack on? I snack on Fuji. Fuji don't turn brown. Okay, they turn a teeny bit, but they don't have the enzyme that turns them brown. I had a demo on Sunday at 10:45. I cut my apples at 8:15 because it was a half an hour away. I did not add lemon juice to them because I wanted them to actually taste the apple without lemon juice added, the Fuji. And I ate them on Monday, the leftovers, and they still had not turned brown. Okay, so that's the cool thing about Fuji. Now the sour, I did add a little lemon juice to this, but it didn't matter because I knew I had lemon juice in there. So once you add them to the salad with the dressing, you're going to be okay because it's got the acid in there that will help it not turn brown. So I'm just going to toss this around, and then I'm going to add now. Pomegranate is my choice, but pomegranates aren't in season until like fall, winter. So I'm going to do cranberries instead. But if you were to, in theory, have a pomegranate, I want you to know how to do a pomegranate. So pretend this is a pomegranate, okay? So pomegranate, I want you to know the seeds in there are golden. They're delicious. They're so good for you. They stay for a long time. The outside may look a little raunchy, okay, of a true pomegranate. The inside is beautiful, okay? But you see them at the grocery store, you're like, I don't think so. That one doesn't look so hot. I'm telling you, when you open it up, it's perfectly fine. So here's the top. We're going to cut it through this way. And when you open up a pomegranate, it's got seeds, red seeds in there like this, okay? And then you watch a video on YouTube and they tell you to scoop it up. Forget that. So that takes too long. So what we do instead is we take our fingers and we take it face down and we get our most solid. Actually, metal works better. I don't have a metal spoon here. And you pound. And eventually the seeds come out. It's much easier, quicker, and fun than scooping. So I want you to be confident. It's much cheaper to do it this way. They last a lot longer. I've had those I got in the cup and paid $4 for. They taste like wine when I get home. I'm like, what? I just paid $4 for this. So these will stay a long time. So, and the finishing touch on this is pistachios. You could choose a different nut. I just love pistachios on this. So wait till you see this. So there we go. There's our salad. Look how beautiful that is. So this is probably my most requested salad. I have friends and my mom will say, when you make that, can you save me a little bit? So it's really good. And the cool thing is, this will be good for at least 3 days. If not, I've eaten it for 4 or 5 days. Okay, it still tastes great. It might look a little different, but it still tastes great. So it's something you can easily eat off of, what I call bulk eating off of. It's not going to get wimpy. It's just going to turn a little bit, the apples maybe a little bit, but it's still going to taste great. So you guys are going to be able to taste that. So there we go. So a reminder, your action step, please, your action step. Take time right now because I know life is going to take over the minute you walk out this door, the minute you close down your computer. Please set your action step. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. This is about learning. Set a goal, set an action step, figure out if you need to buy some ingredients or something, and try it. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but there's learning. Remember, self-compassion, baby steps, those sort of things. I'm here for you for questions, so send me questions. We're going to taste this, and then I will be sending everybody who attended class today. I will look at the roster and see who came, and I will send you a link to the pre-assessment. Try and do the pre-assessment that I send you in the next 1 to 3 days if you can, so that you really see where you are at the beginning of class. And then you can take it at the end, and it will match it up and tell you the change. So you'll see how you change. And like I said, I'm happy to guide you on some changes, areas to start making changes on. If you want that guidance, you'll see enough from doing it. So you'll maybe just right away do some things. So thank you so much. I'll see you next week when we talk about snacks and spacing. And we'll be doing a quinoa burger, mini burgers, and a sweet potato with a garlic sauce. So thank you. Oh, great question. One or more. Okay, maybe two, but if you check 4 or 5, I'm going to come have a little consultation with you. Okay, I'll put a nice note about cutting it back. So, you know, I just really want you to understand. I know you're excited, you're highly motivated, but in 6 weeks, you're not going to be highly motivated. That's the way motivation works. So just pick something. One thing is golden. So thank you. Great. Thank you guys for being on. So reach out to me, you guys that are at home. So love it.